I'm about to get jumped by 5 guys. I can't call my brother.
Scratch that. Record scratch.
Jesus didn't die so that you could just live as close to the fence as you could.
This guy,
That's
it
nice.
didn't affect him at all.
It's looking like a caught up paparazzi. Two phones in my pocket talking. Yeah, I got it. Black card in my wallet. If I want it, then I cop shotgun, ride shotty. I don't need nobody.
What's up, y'all? Sean time. The first thing that we always establish is if we're drinking caffeine or alcohol. Caffeine with my boy Gabe here. Gabe's the first repeat guest, so
Come on.
2 times. And it's going to be a special episode because it's going to be dedicated to my
Let's
dog
go.
Cairo, repping him on the sweatshirt, so in memory of him. And so the next thing we do is trivia. All right, so it's new now. The last episode was the first time I did this, so it's the second one. I've got smelling salts here for when we're not drinking. And 5 trivia questions. If you get 3, 4, or 5 right, then I'll have to hit the smelling salts. If you get 0, 1, or 2, you'll have to hit them.
Sounds
If
good.
you get 3, if you get right in the middle at 3, we can both do it.
Okay.
All right, so we'll do that. So, first question. I'm going to give you multiple choice.
All right.
What is the fastest sea animal? Is it a barracuda? Is it a dolphin? Or is it a marlin?
Marlin.
You locking it in?
Locking it in.
It's a marlin.
It's
All
a
right,
marlin.
he's
Come
1
on.
for 1. 1 for 1. All right, trivia question 2. We're going to go MMA knowledge. Which fighter has the most UFC wins all time? Is multiple choice again. Is it Charles Oliveira? Is it Jim Miller? Or is it Donald Cerrone?
Jim Miller. Locking it in.
All right, Jim Miller is right. Okay, my boy knows his stuff. All right, so he's got 2 right. At this point, all he's got to do is get 1 more, and I'm having to do the smelling salts. And you can choose to do them with me if you want to.
I'm probably still going to do them.
Still do it.
A little throwback to the college days.
Yeah. All right, number 3. Name 2 coaches from any season of the Ultimate Fighter TV show. They have to
John
be on the
Jones.
same season.
I can just name them?
Yeah, just name them, but they have to have coached against each other on the same season.
Oh, against each other. BJ Penn and Jens Pulver.
There you go. All right. All right, he's 3 for 3.
Come on.
3 for 3. He's killing it. Okay. These might depend on who's answering. I guess these could be the 2 hardest questions. I don't know.
Getting harder.
Number 4. The U.S. bought Alaska from which country?
France.
Are you locking it in? Wrong.
Oh.
I got him on 1. It's Russia.
Oh, I would not have guessed that.
Russia.
Okay.
Got him on 1. Okay. Final question. Number 5. Can you name 10 NFL teams?
10 NFL teams. The Cleveland Browns. Baltimore Ravens. Is that Ravens? The Dolphins. 49ers. The Eagles. Patriots. Chicago Bears. That's 7. Let's see. Cowboys. LA Rams. And the Redskins. Or the Indians. Or what are they called now?
They used to be the Redskins.
Okay, so wait.
Or you can name a different team if you...
So when...
I actually will probably just take Redskins, but if you want to try to get it or go for another one, you can. I don't think they should have had to change it, but
The New York Giants.
New York Giants. There you go. That's 10. All right. Okay, so you got what, 4? So that means I got 2. But are you gonna do them with me?
I want to do the thing. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want the Black Panther or do you want the Red Bull?
I'm gonna go with the Bull, man.
The Bull. Okay.
Sounds like it's gonna give me a kick.
The Panther. Okay.
When you're about to hit a 1-rep max or hit a heavy lift, in theory, you would smell this. And it like wakes you up. How much of it is real, I don't know, but
Lifters swear by it.
Yeah, some people run with it. I remember in high school we used to do ammonia pills. We'd crack them, and
for
essentially
track?
The same thing. For lifting.
For lifting.
Only when we had like 1-rep maxes in the weight room. But all right, let's do it. We shake it up and.
You ready?
Oh yeah, that's nice.
This guy,
That's
it
nice.
didn't affect him at all. Did you smell it?
Yeah,
I wasn't looking.
It smells the same as ammonia. That's nice.
Oh, this time it did something I've never had it do, where it was just this nostril. It like burned just this nostril.
You're getting teary, man.
Yeah.
That'll clear your nasal cavity when you're
God,
sick, man.
that's-
That's a medicine right there.
First one. What's something that you've always wanted to do or try but you have not yet?
Skydiving.
Skydiving.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
I feel like that's my basic answer for this question.
Mm-hmm.
But I've thought about this a lot. I feel like every other year or every other summer, I'm like looking up how much it costs to go skydiving.
Yeah. What's holding you back? Or you just haven't, but you're willing to pretty much.
I'm willing to. It's one of those where the expense is heavy.
Yeah.
And I know it'll be worth it, but I don't want to do it by myself. I feel like that's something that would be fun to do with a group of people. But definitely skydiving is something that I've always wanted to do. Skydiving or swimming with sharks.
Ooh, swimming with sharks is a good one.
But we're in the middle of Texas, so there's no sharks.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to go back to Florida or back to. Do they do that in Puerto Rico? Is there stuff you can do like that out there?
I think you can. I think for me, skydiving, because you can't control it. It's environmentally taxing and externally taxing. It'll stress you out, but I feel like the experience will teach you so much more about yourself afterwards than you would otherwise know. Because I feel like everybody says they want to skydive, but they don't know what they're saying until you actually jump out of the plane.
Yeah, that door of the plane, I felt it.
Yeah, you've done it?
Yeah, I went skydiving. I went once.
Okay, so how was the experience?
It was crazy. I did get to feel that, like once I was at the door there, like I didn't have any second guess. I was still at the door, like, let's go. I mean, obviously you're nervous, right? Like, because I had never done it before.
Jumping out of a perfectly working plane is insane.
Yeah, and there was like a couple people like, no, like I'll be at the back of the line, or whatever. And I think I can't remember if I was first or if I was last, but one of the two where it was like, dang, I didn't want to be first or last,
Yeah.
But I was, and it was fun. I went with my dad, so he did it too. We both had someone strapped to our back too. Yeah. Obviously, we didn't become professionals or whatever, but. Man, it was crazy. When you're up there and you're doing it, it doesn't feel like falling like you would think it would. The sensation, like if you fell off of something, it takes your stomach and you're like, oh my gosh, like it's like it's like you're in space. Really? Like you feel the wind, but like it doesn't take your stomach the whole time because like you're eventually just falling there. Yeah. It's very interesting.
Interesting. That's awesome.
It's super cool though. Super cool. I would definitely do it again. I mean, I'd go with if you get a group of people together.
I'm down. You don't have to tell me twice.
Linnea wants to go at some point too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
She'd probably be pretty scared at the door.
I'm in.
A little bit more serious. So when you're super stressed, what is your coping mechanism or behavioral pattern during really stressful times?
As my response?
Yeah.
I feel like I like to push people out. I am it's funny because I've been having this conversation a lot lately. But I'm an ignore and override kind of person. It's almost as if I pretend long enough that this isn't a reality or whatever it is, it's almost like it'll go away. Lately I've been, trying to run to prayer. And trying to make that more of a coping mechanism, but it's been more of acknowledging that I shut down, and I tend to push people not because I don't think that they can handle it. It's just vulnerability is weird, it's not comfortable,
especially for guys, right?
Especially for guys, yeah. And so it's been learning how to rewire that. As far as like coping, I love sweating. So like getting in the sauna,
great
running, punching something in the bag. All of those are things that help me a lot. But as far as like how I respond socially, not great. It's something I'm working on. Yeah. So, what about you? How do you do?
It's a similar. That's kind of something I was going to follow up and ask you too. But I'll answer you first, and then I'll kind of ask. But for me, I feel like I definitely get very quiet.
Yeah.
And I'm very to myself and reserved.
Yeah.
And I don't. Outside of like working out, like you said, sweating.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that stuff. I feel like it really helps me relieve stress. But I don't go do a lot of fun things.
Yeah.
To like escape and
Yeah.
it's like I just want to focus on whatever's stressing me
Yeah.
to try to fix it or
Yeah.
like figure out how to get it out of my life,
Yeah.
you know. But in doing that, I might really clam up, and I don't do a good job of when I'm really, really stressed out of like keeping all of my relationships intact like they should be.
Yeah.
And what my question is for you is like, do you think you actively push away, or is it more, which is the way I feel I do it, is kind of like I just don't reach out to anyone really around me much, and I'm like, I got this, like don't worry about me, but I'm gonna be over here by myself figuring it out, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely the latter. It's definitely the I'm not gonna reach out. I'm not actively. I think I do it subconsciously, push people away, which I don't know if it's better or worse, but it's definitely the response, because I mean, what you're describing is like that response, like the mechanical response, meaning, you know, I'm a fixer, I'm gonna fix this, and I don't need anybody's help to fix it.
Right.
And that's definitely how I respond as well. Is like I'll figure it out. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what the solution is, but I'm gonna get it. And it's almost like sometimes I can get into a point where I'm trying to run through the wall versus asking for help.
Yeah, figuring out where the door is.
Yeah. And it's funny because I love helping others, and it feels like I don't let other people help me. Or I don't even give them the opportunity to help me because I don't reach out. I don't.
Yeah.
When it comes to opening up, it's a barrier, you know, which is definitely not the healthiest thing to do. I think we're both followers of Christ, but I think one of the things that we need to learn to do is learn how to let other people help us. I think a lot of the time, this is the hardest lesson I've been learning recently, is that vulnerability is not really about you. It's about letting the other person, when we are vulnerable, when we let other people help, it helps them grow as well. And so I think it's actually prideful to not ask for help, because not only are we closing the door for someone to grow and give them the opportunity to help us, and give them that pleasure of also like knowing like, man, I was able to do something good today for someone else. We're robbing them of that, but we're also running ourselves into a wall, which is not good. So, yeah.
I agree with everything you said. And I want to give some props to my girlfriend too, because we are polar opposites in our like natural like energies in that way. Like she is the soft, wants to talk about it, like, you know, the kind of like your traditional stereotypical male female stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm the opposite, right? I'm the gritty, like I got this, I don't need to talk about it, you know, whatever. But she softens me in that way, and I think she would say, we've talked about it before, so I'm pretty sure she would say that I've like also toughened her up in certain ways that's good as well.
Yeah.
Like where we both have benefited from each other. So, you know, I think that's one cool way where our women that we choose can balance us.
Yeah,
you know?
I think that's good too. I think there has to be a balance in that. You said a word or a phrase that says toughen up, and I can be very tough with myself. And if I was to address other people how I address myself, I would come across as very rude and insensitive, and it's not a bad thing. Like, I think a lot of people think that you know, we as men can be very closed off. I think a lot of it is because if we truly let out what is in our minds, it would be taken as, oh man, like, you know, this is not good, or you know, you're depressed, or but it's not. It's like we're hard on ourselves because that's just who we are. I mean, as athletes, there's a standard, and especially like me coming from college athletics, you have to learn to be self-motivated, and I think the way that we are can be, you know, can help to toughen other people up, but if we're not careful, it could also push them away, because I tend to be someone that takes things seriously, more seriously than, I don't know, I would think would be normal.
Yeah.
And it could sometimes borderline into insensitive if it was to bleed into other people.
I absolutely agree with all of it. I'll probably say that a lot today because we already know
Yeah.
that we agree on a lot of
Yes,
kind of like
yeah.
general life principles and stuff that we follow, but definitely like everything you said on that. Have you read the 5 Love Languages book?
I've not.
Okay.
I've heard some,
Right.
and yeah, but I've never actually read the book.
Okay. So in the book, there's 5 love languages, and basically they say most people fall into one of the 5
Okay.
as far as what the way you like to give love, and then also how you like to receive love generally. So I'm going to give the 5, and then you tell me what do you think you fall into as far as how you like to give love, and then separately how you like to receive it. So the 5 are words of affirmation, quality time, gift giving, physical touch, and acts of service.
I'm definitely an acts of service kind of guy.
Giver. So when you give
like
love,
I love to serve people.
Okay.
And as far as receiving, I think, man, like words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation.
Which is, I think I would say, maybe not what a lot of people would have guessed. I definitely see myself operating in all of them, but I think those 2 are the ones that jump off the page the most because I think I'm a very tough on myself kind of person, and when the words of affirmation from other people come, it's almost like a breath of fresh air. It's like a break in the pattern of
Right.
what it is that I'm saying in my mind.
Yeah, we don't give ourselves that much.
I don't give myself the credit, and it's funny because when the words of affirmation do come, I don't love it. It's like, it's not that I don't love it. It's the I don't know how to receive praise. I don't know how to receive props. It's I kind of like deflect it back and flip the script. But it is like a breath of fresh air. Because I'm very tough on myself, and I don't get that from me.
To me, if I had to pick what I think most guys probably like, it probably falls into that same thing because it ties to what we were talking about before, the words of affirmation.
Yeah.
And that's where I fall into as far as what I like like to receive. I'm trying to think because I read the book and kind of overanalyzed myself during that time a lot to like figure out which ones match me. I'm trying to remember what I would say for giving. And it'd be funny to hear if my girlfriend agrees or disagrees, But
I'm sure you'll get the feedback. Shortly.
Yeah, I'm sure. I always do after the podcast. So she listens to all of them, so she'll give me feedback. Awesome. Maybe quality time. And that the thing you have to be careful with in these is like the way that you like to give it may not be even how the person likes to receive it.
That's great.
So what quality time could be to me, just me and my girlfriend being in the house at the same time and us doing normal daily stuff around each other, some of that can be quality. And then to her, she may say, no, that's not to her quality time, right? So what she sees as quality time needs to be what you give her, but you can match it with that being what you like to give too. That can help a lot. Yeah, I think.
I think that has such a big implication relationally, spiritually, everything, every aspect, because I think a lot of the time we can get so caught up in, I feel like this is how I show love, right? Or this is how I show love.
This is just how I am, right?
But
like you just have to.
Yes, this is how I am. But there's an important implication that it's like maybe that's not how the object of that love, the recipient, likes to receive, and that's huge in a lot of different spiritually. Like again, I'll try not but how we choose to worship God has to conform to how He likes to be worshipped. There's spiritually we have to show affection to our friends and to our family the way that they like to be shown affection, not the way that we think we should show them affection. I think that's the true marker of a man is being able to know yourself and know other people, of a leader as well.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to apply that to your kids as well. How do they like to receive the love, and how what was the most fun era of your life and why?
I'd say the one I'm in right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun. I've been on a wild ride. I've gotten to travel throughout the United States for track when I was in college. I've gotten to go to a bunch of different places and see and meet a bunch of different people. But I feel like right now it's the season where I'm being stretched the most, in the best way possible. And it's fun because I'm in uncharted territory. When I was in college, I was traveling and I was, doing all these fun things. But I've been running track for years, right? Like it's familiar. It's what I do, or it's what I did. And now I'm in a season of just newness. Almost everything that I do is new. Everything that I'm learning is new, and I'm seeing how the things that I've done in the past have prepared me for now, and also how they've equipped me for what I'm doing and where I'm headed. Which I'm like really involved in the church and ministry and sharing the gospel, and so that's been it's the best season of my life that I've been in so far, by far. Out of everything that I've done, it's the most fun, been the most challenging, been the most stretching, the most stressful, and so I love that. There's a point in my life, like when I first got to out of college, I was like, man, like how am I supposed to do this when I've been at the top of the mountain, or so I felt like, and it took time, and now I'm realizing that the best days, like we say that a lot of the best is yet to come, but for a long time I didn't feel that way, and I'm starting to see the truth in that statement about how the best days are truly yet to come, and how everything is pointing to a wild ride, a wild journey, a great journey that I'm expecting and excited for.
To your point about feeling stretched or being stretched with your time too, I think when you're really at a place of enjoying the journey, then the stretch doesn't hurt as much. It's not as bad because you can find in the stretch like the good things of what's coming, what you're growing in, and what you're
choosing your pain.
Yeah, exactly.
There's gonna be pain no matter what you do. The dividing factor, the separator, is that some people choose their pain and others, the pain is chosen. So I think the expectation is that when we get the job that we've been gunning after, or the promotion, or we get the money in the bank account, that somehow, some way, all the problems of the world are gonna disappear. That everything that we want is gonna be on the other side of this milestone. But what we come to find is that there's always another goal, there's always another milestone, there's always another amount that you want to reach, another promotion. What ends up happening is we get so zoned in on the macro, the goals, that we don't even get to choose our day-to-day routine. Our routines are chosen for us. That's what I was getting at, is that you either choose your pain or the pain is chosen for you. And I think for most of, I'll speak for the younger generation, most of young adults and youth, I would say that we're living in an age of consumption. We're getting used to the swiping and the TikTok and the Instagram, and we're building fake lives.
You could be on either side of the coin, where you have a history of, at the wrong time, purposefully choosing the path that's harder to travel.
Yeah.
Almost like self-sabotage sometimes. Or...
What do you mean by at the wrong time?
By at the wrong time specifically? If you are an MMA fighter and your coach is saying you're not ready for this yet, and you go take a fight on your own and you get just beat to a pulp. Gotcha. You might learn from it, and you're still on the path.
Yeah.
But he said you shouldn't have taken that route so early. We're gonna get you to where that route makes sense for you to go ahead into a fight, that type of thing. But also, I was thinking of just in general, like I grew up with a lot of in Memphis, I mean, I grew up with all kinds of friends, right? But like some people went to prison.
Yeah.
Some people, I mean, even people that I grew up with have like murdered people. Like different things you see growing up, where some of them didn't even come from that bad of home lives. They chose that route.
Yeah.
And they just, for whatever reason, had this like issue where they would go something in their development, I guess, as they were younger, probably caused them to want to like just choose these paths that were tougher for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
But you can also be in a place in your life where everything's too cushy and you never choose the tough path, and so you're too soft mentally as an individual, and you don't, you know what I mean?
I think there's a misconception that just because something is hard to get, it must be worth it. Meaning, like, we see the Lamborghini. Oh man, like, not a lot of people have those. They're expensive. They're, pretty exclusive. And because they're hard to get, they must be worth it. We see the, and we justify the means, right? Like we look at, like, connecting it to before, we look at the lifestyle that people are living, quote unquote, and then we say, man, like, I want to live that, and then we justify the means. So if I want that, it's okay if I start being dishonest here, if I go to the street life here, if it gives me the money and gives me the means to do this, it's worth it. And I think the biggest lesson anybody can ever learn is that just because something is hard to get doesn't mean it's worth it. So difficulty to attain does not equal value. The things that I believe we can look at our lives and think, man, this is the thing that's most valuable to me: family, friends, relationships, having a purpose in what you're doing, are for the most part low cost. They don't have a high barrier of entry. Mm-hmm. But what we've done as a society is we've placed a perceived value on the things that are hard to get. We think that we have to have the 10-car garage, and we need to have the working on the beach office, and things that are hard to get because we think that they're automatically valuable, and they're not. And so when we have that outlook, it turns into, well, if this will get me the outcome that I'm looking for, then it's justified. If I need to go to the streets, if I need to, and there's the thing too, a lot of people don't realize this, but there's some people that are dealt a hard stack of cards from the beginning. And I've learned this doing like street ministry to homeless people. Is like a lot of them don't choose. Like, I had this outlook that homeless people are lazy and they don't want to get jobs, and they're just pushovers that just want to get everything handed to them. And I remember last year I started going out and ministering to the homeless, and I realized that, man, like, just some people just have really bad luck, and I say luck, but they just had a bad card dealt from the beginning, and people that keep pushing them down and letting them down, and so they're just physically unable to get themselves out of that situation. And so I think that people start down the road of, oh man, I have to feed my family. So there are multiple reasons we can't really isolate, but I think for the most part, when we identify something as like, oh man, I have to have this, whatever the cost, we open the door for a lot of bad things to happen.
What does your fighting style say about you?
What does my fighting style say about me? That I'm prideful and arrogant, and that I am prone to being careless when I am under the adrenaline rush. It's funny because when it comes to grappling, I suck, and it's not fun to me because I just get annihilated all the time. But when it comes to striking, that's where, and I haven't trained in a long time, but I think that's a great question because it just speaks to the fire that is in someone. I'm a very, hands down, I'm chasing down no matter if I get hit in the face. I'm coming after you, hit me harder kind of guy. Is that all you got? I think I think you were at both my fights. Know that I'm a talker in the cage. I'm chasing down. I'm talking hands down, very full of pride and arrogance. So that's a lot of the reason why I pulled away from training. I feel like I was doing it for the wrong reasons, but I think that I'm not scared of a confrontation, and I love the high intensity moments. I don't shy away from a fight. I think that's what my fighting style would say about me.
Love it, and I've seen it. So yeah,
I'm sorry about that.
No, it was a great experience. When I went to your one of your smokers, it was my first time going to a smoker, so that was just cool to have that experience as well. Okay, let's see. Next question is, what is your all-time favorite movie?
That's a very hard question because I love movies. I don't think I could ever put one. I can give you a general. I love movies that are based on true stories.
Mm-hmm.
I love movies that speak of the resiliency of humans. Movies that just move you. I was watching a movie that was just released not too long ago, titled Bonhoeffer. I would put that in my top 3.
Bonhoeffer, haven't seen that.
Yeah, so he was a pastor in the 1940s Germany when Nazi party took over, and he essentially was a spy pastor, and eventually he was martyred because he tried to kill Hitler.
Wow.
And it's a true story, and so it's just insane about how, he has a quote that he says, "Silence in the face of evil is itself evil," and inaction in the face, something along those lines. How if you don't do anything in the face of evil, you're yourself participating in that evil. And so I remember I started reading one of his books. It's called The Cost of Discipleship, and I was pretty taken aback because I took him to be a hypocrite, right? In his book he takes a very literal approach to the scriptures, where if you're Christian, you forfeit all right to self-defense. You forfeit all right to it's the very heavy turn the cheek, and go the other mile. And then I'm reading about his life, and I'm like, this guy literally tried to kill Hitler. I know it's Hitler, but like you're writing something here that's not tracking with what you're saying.
Right.
And so I remember I watched the movie and I was just mind blown at his story and at the difficult choices that he had to make. And so it gave me a whole lot of respect for the church as a whole, the role that it plays in culture. It gave me a lot of respect for him, and it made me ask a lot of hard questions, like had I been in the same position, or would I be in the same position, how would I react? These are those are the movies that I love, the ones that make you think, and so that movie I highly recommend anybody watching. Bonhoeffer. Incredible movie.
That definitely sounds like something I'd like to watch. I think my dad would like to watch that a lot too,
Yeah.
so it might be something we have to watch together. Let's see. What do you admire most about your father?
I think that he never quits. He is someone that is persevering. When I was growing up in track, he was the one that kept instilling on me that attitude of never backing down, never quitting. If it weren't for my father, I would not have gone as far as I did in the sport of track. I would not have found myself where I'm at now, because I get a lot of my character from him, and in that like never quit attitude, never back down, and so he's made me who I am, in not the light sense of the word. And so I have a lot of respect for him for that, because I learned how to be a man from him. So, I would say the number one lesson that I've learned from my father is to never quit, never back down, and to never take no for an answer. Never, I was always the smallest guy in every team that I would play in. I was always, I was never the fastest. I was never the strongest. I was never the most talented. But the one thing that my dad drilled in me is that if I wasn't going to beat them on natural ability, they were not going to beat me on work ethic. And so that was my number one strength, and still to this day is my number one strength, is that someone could be more talented than me, someone could be more gifted or more able, but one thing that they were not going to be able to say was that they were outworking me. And I think every coach that I have had the opportunity to work with would confirm that. They would affirm that. My Alabama coach, I think he would affirm that as well. No one, no matter where they're at or no matter where we met, can ever say that they outworked me, and I got that from my father, and that's still my approach today. No one will ever outwork me.
Love that. That's super similar to what I would say about my dad, and the way that I was thinking about wording it in my head. And so much of what you said is exactly spot on with me and my dad. The way that I was thinking about wording it was just the I'll find a way attitude. If me or my sister ever needed something, I knew that he was going to find a way that we got it. You know what I mean? And he, at the time, may not even look and think he has the resources for that, but he finds a way to do it. He worked so much overtime when I was younger, worked nights. My sister and I we share the same father. We have different mothers, and so he would see us every other weekend. We'd go over there, and he would make every moment count for us, and like he would be so tired. I just remember even from him working so much overtime or working nights and stuff, like I said. And I was lucky enough to grow up with both of my parents, like being willing to do that for me, kind of like make sure that I always had what I needed and go to any length to make sure.
Yeah, likewise.
And he's just got the attitude of, like, if something goes wrong in the family, it may be stressful, everybody may be freaking out at some point, but he's never going to lose we're going to get on the other side of this attitude. You're never going to see him, like, just with his head down, like, oh no, we can't do this, And I think that's very important for a man.
Absolutely, 100%.
What does a godly relationship look like to you?
I'll preface
we could talk about this forever. So your
absolutely.
general answer on it too.
I'll preface this by saying, I'm not married. I'm not, general rule of thought. I think I told you this when we were at dinner last week. Only take advice from people that are possessing the thing you want to have. I don't have godly relationship. I don't have. So we can talk about theoreticals. We can talk about what the word says.
Right.
But as far as advice from me, I am not proven in this. So, but I think godly relationship is a relationship that's submitted to authority. And I think off the bat already some people are like, what, submitted to authority? That they're getting the irk. But the thing is that a godly relationship is not possible if you don't have godly counsel speaking into what it is that you're doing. And so
100%.
I think that if nothing else, the number one thing someone should be looking for when they're wanting to have a godly relationship is to have someone that can speak to both. Ideally, it'd be an older married couple.
Both sides.
Someone on both sides. Where you can ask for counsel, ask for guidance, seek for advice. That is, I think, the number one most important thing that a godly relationship needs to have. Everything else flows from that place. It's very hard to have a godly relationship when you're not being transparent with someone. I'm not saying that you let your business be, fan mail for everybody, but there's someone that should know, mostly if not everything about your relationship, how it's progressing, where you guys at, because they can help guide you. I think we start running into problems when things start being done in the dark. The moment we step away from light and we start, getting secretive, and we start trying to, get as close as we can to the line, I think that's a tendency that I've seen personally and in other people, is that we love to try to, well, how close can I get to the line of we're still being godly, but we're also like, I think the moment you start thinking that way, you blur the line. And something that I've heard said is Jesus didn't die so that you could just live as close to the fence as you could. He died so that you could run from the fence and live clear and free. And so when you're submitted to godly counsel, you're making sure that you're not getting close to that fence. There's a story, I heard it from Bryce Crawford. He was sharing about how, there's this guy that's on the fence, and one side belongs to God, and the other side is Satan, and on one side God is saying, hey, follow me, come on this side, and Satan's on the other side. I'll give you all the desires, and I'll give you all the wealth and all the things. And the guy is like, man, I want to follow God, but I also want the things that the world offers. I want the wealth, I want the desires, I want the girls, and I want all the. And so the guy thinks he outsmarts God. He says, you know what, I'm gonna live in like I follow God, but I'm also going to stay on the fence. And so the guy dies, and all of a sudden everything goes black, and he wakes up in hell. It's like, wait, no, I didn't make a decision. I was still on the fence. And Satan looks at him and says, the fence belonged to me. Because you can't live as close to the fence and then still think that you're making godly choices, because the closer you get to the fence, the Bible says that he who is a friend of the world is in enmity with God. Probably butchering the wording, but you can't be a friend of God and a friend of the world. You're a friend to one and an enemy to the other. You'll never be able to coexist with both, and so it's hard. And having a godly relationship is costly. You have to do things that culture says is not right, that culture thinks is legalistic, culture thinks is not good. But you don't just stumble into godliness. You don't stumble into a godly marriage.
When you think about enjoying childhood, what memory first comes to mind?
Enjoying childhood. Playing basketball in my grandma's house patio. She had a big patio. They got a basketball hoop so we could play. It was all grass, but there was this like slab of concrete, and after school we just go out there, and like this patio was big enough to where we could just like explore. I would take her kitchen knives, and I'd go and I'd dole them out on rocks in the patio, or I would start throwing them. These are like butter knives, right? So they're not like sharp, but I'm like destroying all her silverware. So it was fun. We would just play at the park. There's a park down the road. Biking. I remember when we used to play outside instead of playing online.
Right.
I'm old enough to where I remember that we still played outside. And so I remember when I was younger, we lived in this like a dead end street with all these houses. They were all kids all over, and we would. I remember when we would drive up to our house and all the kids were outside playing, they would run behind the car like, oh, come play, right? So like this was before technology became what it is now. I remember we would play like cops and robbers and spies, and we like, it felt like going to the next street over in our gated community was like, oh my God, like we're being adventurous. We're out there, we're in the world, right? And so that was that when the world was when we were the world was big enough to where the next road over was, going out of the country or something. I remember when the world felt huge. Now it's like,
feels like it's closing in.
Yeah, everything is closed. We never sit back and like appreciate things. But there was a time where, like the world was just this big place to be conquered and explored.
That's funny you say your grandmother's house when you were first telling about the basketball hoop, because my grandmother's house, the first that comes to my mind too.
Yeah.
Being over there with all my little my cousins, playing in the backyard. We had a trampoline, and like there was a basketball hoop back there too. So we would like jump on the trampoline to dunk, or my grandpa would come like popcorn us on the trampoline and bounce us around. And when I was over there, she would let me do a lot more than my mom would let me do, so I could ride my bike to the other neighborhoods or like same stuff you're kind of saying. And that just felt like, I'm getting to like...
Yeah, we're out there,
I'm out in the world.
World's big. The world can't handle me.
Take some change. Me and my friend Drake would take, we'd scrounge up change from the house or whoever's house, whatever. We'd go get, specifically from Sonic, they had like the $1 chili Frito, whatever, and we would get these like slushies and, just kid stuff, but that's the first stuff I think of too. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the hypotheticals. All right, this one's a fun one. Wouldn't be fun if you're in this situation, but it's fun to talk about. Okay. So, you're about to get jumped. You're out somewhere about to get jumped by 5 guys. You can't call your brother, but you can call one person. Who would it be?
I'm about to get jumped by 5 guys. I can't call my brother.
Because I figured you would say your brother. You would trust him more than anybody, all that. So that's why I said you can't call your brother. But who would you call first person? And you can take me out of it too, just for the sake of not having to feel pressured. But who would you call?
I'd call Delmer, man.
Delmer?
Of course.
That was my guess of who I thought you would say.
So, for context, Delmer is our striking coach. And so the funniest thing... One of the reasons I said Delmer is we were at a local MMA promotion, and huge fight breaks out, in the lobby. We're in a hotel in downtown Dallas. Huge fight breaks out, and I see Delmer pulls out his mouthpiece case from his pocket, puts it on.
He just had it.
Yeah, the guy Delmer carries around his mouthpiece like it's a gun, And I thought it was the funniest thing ever. All hell is breaking loose in this lobby, and this guy pulls out his mouthpiece, puts it on. He's like, "I'm ready." And it's just the last thing you would expect, right? Man, one of the funniest. So there were 2 occasions that I saw that. We were at local MMA promotions, and a fight would break out. This guy would pull out his mouthpiece from his pocket.
That's wild.
Like it's a gun. He carries it around like he needs a permit for it. That was so funny, man. So I would call him. He's one of the nastiest strikers that I've ever seen. So for sure, yes.
That is, man. One thing about the MMA community, like if you join an MMA gym, you kind of like, if you get to know people, you engulf yourself in it to where you open yourself up to making relationships. To me, it's kind of like. This is going to be very exaggerated when I say this, but it's like the last frontier. Yeah. It's like the last place where you still have these like wild animalistic guys that can kind of, they still hold that mentality of like when we were growing up and kids that grown men would still have, and it was more accepted. Yeah. They still have that in MMA gyms, and I love having somewhere to go experience that.
And I love that because I think that's something that's missing in men today. But there's a reason why. And there's a reason why I feel like it's common in martial arts world, because habitually you are letting that animalistic side out of you, or that's in you. You're letting it out. You're giving it room to come out, versus most people either smother it till it's gone, or and what happens is you become in tune with it, and you learn how to manage it. You learn how to, that it's there, and on the other flip side, I believe martial artists are the most humble guys in the bunch. Why? Because they know that would they choose to, they could inflict a bunch of pain on people.
Yeah, right.
And so I think there's a correlation between you are learning how to give air to that side of you, and then you don't have to prove yourself to other people. You don't have to. And so I think there's a study that lions that are in zoo cages, after a certain period of time, they lose their animalistic tendencies because they're being fed all the time. They don't have to worry about other predators. They're protected. They're being fed on a schedule, and so if they were to release those lions back into the wild, they would die.
Yeah.
Because they literally unlearn how to. It's even more true of animals that are born in captivity. They don't know how to survive in the wild, and so when in society we've created all these boxes of working 9 to 5, and we get home and we watch TV. You become domesticated. Your mind rots. It rots out essentially, and so come difficult times, we don't know how to handle them. We've unlearned that. When we're young, it's present in everybody. It's not rare. Every kid grows up playing cops and robbers, grows up playing running around and high energy, and they want to be a cop, they want to be an astronaut, they want to be all these high risk careers, because they have that. There's that sense of adventure, but over time it gets dulled out and flushed out, and so we unlearn how to deal with difficulty, or rather we become domesticated to not know how to manage it.
If you had unlimited money for one vehicle, what would you buy?
Truck.
Which truck?
What
would you do to
it? What would I do? I would lift it. I would probably start with the AT4, GNC AT4. Put big old mud tires on it. Lift it. He said what? Dude, that truck is good looking. Or Chevy. The thing is, I like rugged looking trucks. So I like Same. I like when the shifter is behind the wheel and it feels it feels rougher. I don't like that. I think Dodge has the little wheel that I don't like that.
Yeah.
Give me the
old school.
It feels like you're doing something when you're definitely truck, definitely. Take her fishing, take her, off-roading. Mm-hmm. It's all good.
Apocalypse comes.
Yeah, I'm good with that, man. Go camping. Let me have it.
All right, here's a fun one. If all humans became animals, not that we're not animals, but you know what I mean, what would you be? What do you think I would be? And what do you think your brother would be? Give you a chance to take a shot, or you could be respectful to your brother.
I think I'd be a lion.
A lion.
I think you would be...
I'm curious on this one.
Man, I think you would be tiger, I would say.
Tiger?
Yeah, I would say tiger. I think my brother would be... What's the most, gung-ho... hyena? They just run. I don't know. Think about the most gung-ho animal, savage animal. I think that would be,
Those are pretty good ones.
Huh?
I said those are pretty good ones.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say a hyena, vicious, and they'll run. I would say that. I'm not trying to. I mean that in the best way. That's what I would say. Yeah,
all right, lion, tiger, hyena.
Yeah.
All right, you're stranded on an island. You get 3 items for survival, but it can't be anything like a phone where you can get, say someone to come save you. What are the 3 things you're taking?
Say 3 books.
3 books?
I would take 3 books.
All right.
Here's the thing. I'm a reader.
All right.
And as long as I have a book, I can entertain myself. Okay. I don't need nothing fancy, So I'll take the Bible. I'll take man. Some other. I'll take the Bible. I'll take a book on prayer, and I'll take something entertaining. But the thing, those kind of fictional books eventually get old. So let's say the Bible, a book on prayer, and then I'd say a hammock.
A hammock, okay. So you're not taking anything that has to do with like building shelter.
I'm assuming there's gonna be like coconuts in an island, so I'm gonna have the water stuff figured out.
Yeah.
I can.
So you don't need the tools. You can figure it out based on what you got there.
I'll make it work, man. And then I'm sure we can arrange a fishing rod with some, with something, and we're good to go, man. Eat some fish, lunch, dinner, and breakfast, and then read. Sunbathe that.
Read in the hammock?
Yeah, bro. What else could you want?
All right.
Let's make it a vacation if we're spending on
right. Let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
You meet a girl. She says her best friend is a guy. Do you A accept it? B, tell her that in your view of what a relationship should be, that's unacceptable, and kind of see what she says? Or do you C, take it as a red flag from the beginning and move on?
It depends.
Okay.
It's not.
What is it depending on? What are we going off of here?
Depends on what that friendship looks like.
Okay.
Because I think there's a lot of.
So you do believe it can be healthy to have a male best friend if you're a female?
It depends on what that looks like, because I think we when we say best friend, right? Like, I think the instinct is we jump to like the extreme.
Mm-hmm.
I think it depends on what that looks like. There's definitely a line. Should be a line, because if you're about to get in a relationship, you should be able to be each other's best friend.
Right. Right.
If not, then there's something wrong.
I agree.
So I think it would just depend on how it would look like, especially afterwards, especially after you realize, like, hey, there's a relationship here. And this goes for the guy too. If the guy has a girl best friend,
right?
The moment you realize that there's a potential relationship here, like the way that relationship is handled totally changes, both for the guy and then as well for the girl with the guy best friend, or at least ideally, I believe it should. So, yeah.
Good answer.
Interesting one.
Good answer. Yeah, I try to make put some fun ones in here. What's your dream house setup? Was it more like you have a lot of land?
Yeah.
House doesn't matter as much? Is it a big house in a neighborhood? Is it you have to have, for your ideal perfect house, a basketball court, or what would it be?
If money was not an issue, money was not a factor.
Right.
I would. My dream living situation would be on a homestead kind of family compound.
Yeah.
Where
yes.
You have land where all family, extended family can build a house. You have space for kids to just have fun, go be stupid and reckless in a controlled environment, right? Go climb trees, go do it. At least you know that you're in a safe, environment. I would love to have a fishing pond somewhere on the property, where I can just go down fish. Shooting range somewhere on the property.
Nice. Outside or indoor?
Outside. Outdoor nice. Range. And then as far as like house, I would love to have an in-home library where I like build a study.
You're a bigger reader than I even knew of. I really love reading.
Yeah, okay. I do read a lot.
I enjoy reading too, but I didn't realize that. I guess we just haven't talked about it.
Yeah, I'm a reader, and so a study with desk and just kind of like shelves of books, and then I love media rooms. I love like the in-home theater setups. Those I love those. So I would love to have one of those. And that's it, man. In a room where it would be like the man cave. I'd have all the guns on the walls, and that feeling, workstation where you can put on attachments and work on tinker, gun safe, all that'd be the dream.
Love that. That sounds like an
then whatever
awesome
the
setup.
wife wants,
Yeah, right. She's got to have her.
She can design the rest. I just ask for the gun room, a little library in home, and then the media room, and then whatever else. It's fine.
Right. They're better at decorating the rest anyways, right?
For sure.
Okay, so you're going on a road trip. What do you grab at the gas station? And what are you listening to?
I'm probably listening to country music.
Country?
I have like a 66-hour playlist.
66 hours?
It's probably bigger by now, but yeah. So I have a big country playlist.
Wow.
And then I am probably grabbing sunflower seeds.
Love it.
A water bottle, and some sort of caffeine.
Do you have a favorite coffee, energy drink?
I'm a black coffee drinker.
Black coffee.
I love black coffee. This.
Way to be a man,
shocks,
Gabe. Way to be a man and not put some sugar and everything in there.
But I don't endure black coffee. I actually enjoy it. I actually take pleasure in it. I love the smell, and I love the taste.
You love the bitter, a little bit of bitter.
I love it.
I did too, bro.
So
I did too.
It shocks people, but yes, black coffee is actually enjoyable.
All right, so you got your water, sunflower seeds, black coffee, and
The
country
country
music.
playlist.
All right,
Yes.
That's a good setup right there.
Come on, man.
All right, one more, and then we'll go into the legend or not
Okay.
game with all the MMA fighters. So, if same way you answered on the animals for me, you, and your brother, if we were all colors, what color would we be? What represents us as far as a color in your mind?
I'd say me for red.
Bright red, like that red.
Yeah, like cherry red.
Okay.
I would say you give me that ranger green.
Ranger green. Okay.
Ranger green.
That's cool. I like that.
Vibe.
Like this.
Yeah, ranger green.
I dig that.
My brother gives me a mix of colors vibe, the stuff the fine gloves that are like a bunch of colors, and they're just fun looking.
Kind of like a pattern or a design or something. Okay.
But just a colorful pattern, not rainbow, and I just see like a skull embedded on it or something.
Okay. Something pretty out there and in your face and kind of, wow, okay, that's cool. I dig that. Okay. So now, usually at this point, we play a game. Usually the game is I give them, the guests, two things. They have to pick one. They can't tell why, and we just go down the list.
I hated this last time.
But this time, we're going to give, since we both train, in martial arts, and we're going to watch the fights tonight, UFC fans, I'm going to give you a bunch of fighters' names, and you got to tell me whether they are a legend or not. And it could be that they're going to become a legend, but it's just legend or not. Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Legend.
Derek Lewis.
Nah.
TJ Dillashaw.
Nothing legend.
Legend, okay. Gordon Ryan.
MMA and jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah. So not as a fighter, but in the jiu-jitsu community.
Yeah, legend. Yeah.
Okay. Merab Dvalishvili.
Legend.
Okay. Rose Namajunas.
Legend.
Daniel Cormier.
Legend.
Robbie Lawler.
Legend.
Kamara Usman.
Nah. Yeah. You know what? I'll say yes. Yes.
He's fighting tonight, actually.
He's got a good record. Yes.
Legend. Okay. Demetrius Johnson.
Legend.
Okay, I figured so on that one. Charles Oliveira.
Legend.
Max Holloway.
Legend.
Ilya Topuria.
Legend. I'll co-sign on that.
All right.
I'll double down. Yes.
Henry Cejudo.
Legend.
Rampage Jackson.
Legend.
Eddie Bravo.
Legend.
Anthony Pettis.
Not familiar, so I mean, like, not a lot, so not I'd say no.
Rory McDonald.
Same. I haven't really seen many fights.
Okay. Nick Diaz.
Legend.
Misha Tate.
Unfamiliar.
Okay. All right, that's the end of the list.
Okay.
That's the first time we did. Let me know if y'all like something like that better, where it's a yes or no for whatever I say, or you like the this or that and you have to pick. Y'all gotta let me know. Okay, now we're on to the specific questions. So, who was your first best friend and why? Like, describe how y'all became best friends that you remember. First best friend. Can't be your brother.
I would say Ignacio, and we're still close to this day.
Mm-hmm.
We became close because of sports, basketball. We met in basketball. His family was the reason I actually started running track.
Wow. So that had a big impact.
Yeah, this is before the days of track, and then, you know, I remember we were playing basketball in the same team, and his dad came to my dad. He said, "Hey, your son is fast. You should put him on track." You know, my dad wasn't convinced because he was always a basketball fan. He didn't really know a lot about track. But yeah, I ended up transferring to school to run track and play basketball. Eventually, other people prevailed over my dad and convinced him to pull me out of basketball. Let me just run track. And,
were you real promising in basketball as well as a young kid?
I was. I was. The
You
rest
still
is
play at all?
history. You still what?
You still
not
play?
Not really, man.
You miss
I
it?
pretty much not really.
No.
No.
Was it more your dad's thing than yours?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, and we're both, you know, but brothers in Christ. He got baptized last November.
That's awesome.
I believe, and we'll get online, do Bible study. But man, we've seen each other through a lot. In the past, I don't know, man, 12 years of friendship. So yeah,
those best friends that you have for almost your whole life.
Yeah.
It's a different type of bond, isn't it? Because the only people you've been through that type of stuff with is either family or them. Yeah. Okay. So as a kid, or maybe even now if you're still into this stuff, but your favorite superhero?
Captain America.
Captain America. That's a good one.
Yeah. The reason is, I'll die on this hill. I believe Captain America is the best superhero, hands down.
Okay.
Because there's nothing specifically identify with him a lot. There's nothing specifically remarkable about him. He doesn't have any superpowers. I love the first movie because he was the skinniest guy out of everybody. He wasn't the fittest. He wasn't the gifted one, but he just had a never quit attitude.
I like that.
And you know, he gets his superpowers or not superpowers. He gets this, you know, the scientific procedure. He gets yoked, and he's just a natural born leader. And people follow him. Thor follows him. All these other superheroes follow him that have all these superpowers. But this guy, who is just an enhanced human, leads them, and it's because of his character. He's the only when in the movies when he got Thor's hammer, I freaked out. That was so hype, because it just shows, like, you know, it's not about the being naturally gifted. It's that character. It's the character, and it's just Captain America's character is the best one. And I'll die on that hill. Best superhero, hands down. Natural leader, humble. Yeah.
Do you like to watch all the superhero movies, or is that kind of a smaller, like you're focused on like Captain America?
No, I love Marvel. Marvel is awesome. I don't necessarily like DC. They're all over the place. There's no real storyline. But Marvel is awesome. I love the way they did their movies, and so yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What type of movies make you emotional?
Yeah, I'd say the same one that I would say before, like the true story, ones that make you think. Maybe not necessarily even true stories, but the movies that just appeal to the emotional side. I was watching. There's a movie called Silence with Andrew Garfield, and in the movie he's a missionary, and this is taking place in the 1600s, and he goes with another priest to Japan to share the gospel with people, and so there's an incredible persecution happening in Japan, and it's their faith being tested. They're having to sleep in huts outside in the sun, or they can't move a muscle because the persecutors are looking for them, and they're killing Christians unless they renounce their faith. And like, I don't know if the movie's real or not. I don't think it is based on a true story, but like that is what happened in the early church when the church was born. And so those movies move me, movies that just have some sort of significance. And so that it's a long movie. It's like a 3-hour movie, but man, it's heavy, it's powerful, and it stirs you. Those are the movies that move me, the movies that stir you. Yeah, I get emotional on those. Bonhoeffer, teary-eyed at the end. Those are the movies. I love movies that build you up, or that edify you. I don't think there's anything wrong with other movies. I love military war movies, love those, but there's something about the movies that edify you and make you reflect and think, and they're not very common, but the movies that do come around that challenge the way that you view things, really appreciate those. Like I said, I was reading that book, and then I was like, man, this guy's so full of it, but then I watched the movie and it like wrecked my perspective. That's like, it's the best movie you can. I call those investments. Some are waste of time, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd say for me, as far as movies and emotions, my girl always kind of cracks jokes on me, but like football movies, if they're like emotional, like tells like a story of someone struggling in certain ways, like with football, that'll do it, or a team coming together sometimes. And really what gets me too is anything with like protecting children.
Yeah.
And then also hitting the deep rooted, what we talked about a little bit earlier, the moments when men are emotional, like in the movie, a strong male character that doesn't break, doesn't cry, like you see him break at some point for some reason, then you just know as a man those moments are kind of few and far between, and when they come, man, he really got to be going through it for that to happen. That stuff will get me. All right, a little bit more of a lighthearted question. So, does pineapple belong on pizza?
Yes.
Oh, come on, man.
Yes.
Come on, man.
It's like
sweet and savory. You like those together, like for the pizza?
It's a match made in heaven. Man.
Okay.
It's like saying chocolate and honey, man. Like it just mixes. I don't know. Have you ever tried that? You get dark chocolate. Kudos to my brother. Shout out to my brother for that. But dark chocolate, honey on top.
I've never had it.
Heaven, but it's made in heaven. But I believe pineapple on pizza is how it was intended to be eaten.
That was how it was intended.
You can't have pizza without pineapple.
I don't know. A few Italians might beg to differ. We're gonna.
It's okay. It's okay. Okay with that.
What do you think would be your most used emoji?
I know what my most used emoji is. It was the laughy face with the tears coming out.
The crying laughing face. Yeah.
I'd use it for everything.
Very millennial.
People started calling me out.
Because you used it too much, you think?
Yeah, and I used it, I guess, in the wrong place. I'm like, you don't use that for that. That it doesn't mean what you think of me or whatever. I'm like, dude, you know what? I'm like.
There was a look at the camera there for a second. I think it was, okay. I get where you're going.
But yeah. So, That emoji for sure. The yellow with the tears coming out and the laughing face. Yeah.
Okay. Which martial art intrigues you the most?
Muay Thai.
Muay Thai.
Intrigues. Yeah, I think it's the best one. I think it's an art. I know there's a bunch of them out there, but it's just, I feel like it's the one that you never cease learning. On, I don't know, I didn't know it, or I didn't do it, to the point to become a master, but the intricacy of it, the complexity of it, the applied nature of it, it's amazing. I think it's as close to perfect as they come.
I dig that.
As far as individual martial art, I would say.
All right. What's your favorite strike to land?
Whoever sparred me knows this. It's either one of two things. It's the question mark kick or the Superman.
Okay.
Yeah, I throw the question mark kick all the time. So, yeah.
All right,
Sean will
last
testify.
Last question. Who wins tonight, Usman or Buckley?
Usman. Yeah.
By how?
I'd say KO.
KO.
Yeah.
Woo. So we got the rising star Buckley and we got the vet, former champ, Usman. All right, man. There's another amazing pod.
Can I say this?
Say whatever you want. You got the stage.
How much time to...
Let me reset it.
Yeah.
I don't want it to go out on you. The floor is yours, brother.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, I love doing these, and I think, some people might hear me talking about, like, or keeping a prayer book, or the Bible, and I've been doing a lot of thinking this last week because I have a teammate in college that passed away on Tuesday, and when I found out, one of the thoughts that I was having is that, man, like, I don't know if this person ever heard the gospel, and so I know you and I share the same beliefs, but maybe someone has never heard the gospel, and I just wanted to take a moment to share what the gospel is, because I think there are conceptions of or stereotypes when it comes to Christians and when it comes to this stuff, and I just want to address that. We are sinful people. We are separated from God because of sin. And the gospel, it's the good news that there's a way for us to step back into right relationship with God. God created everything a certain way, everything to be perfect, and He made us to walk with Him in the garden. But because of the original sin, we were separated. The original sin was pride, disobedience, and so because of disobedience, we were separated from God, and we were condemned to a life of suffering, a life of death, and that's not how God created things. And so in modern day, we tend to try to fill things with sex, drugs, achievement, anything to fill that hole. We have a God-sized hole in our hearts that it just can't be filled with anything else. But we know it's there, even if we've never heard the gospel. Even there's always this longing inside of us. I remember before I came to know Jesus, I still had that longing, and I wrestled with it every day, a longing for purpose, because we are made with a desire for eternity. We're made with a desire for something bigger, and the tendency is for us to fill it with all these things, but the reality of the matter is that hole is only meant to be filled with God, with Him. He put the hole in us so that we could run back to Him. And so God sent His Son, one and only Son, Jesus, 2,000 years ago, to die the death that we deserved. He lived a perfect life. He did not sin. And He came to reveal the Father to us. He bore the punishment that we deserved. He was beaten, He was spit on, He was fooled by people, and then He was nailed to a cross naked. That's the punishment that we deserved. That's the punishment that you and I deserved. And on the third day, He was resurrected. He came back to life, ascended to the Father, ascended back to heaven, and He sent His Holy Spirit to redeem us. He sent His Holy Spirit to make us holy, to sanctify us, and because of His sacrifice, we have the ability to get to know Him. We have the ability to be forgiven, all of our sins, all of our transgressions, which are many, and we have that beautiful privilege because He bore our transgressions. And so I think, the tendency is to think that, oh man, these Christians are weird, or talk about the Bible. The evidence is out there. There's evidence available for whatever question you might have. There's 2,000 years of people wrestling with this stuff, and even greater. And so there's no question that you can ask that hasn't been asked before. And I beg them to just do some research on their own, not believe something because other people believe it, or because it's the popular thing, or because it's the trendy thing, but because it's the truth. And whether you believe something or not, if it's true, it's true. 2 + 2 = 4, whether you believe it or not. And so this teammate of mine passing away just made me realize, like, the only thing that matters is making the gospel known, sharing the gospel. And at the end of the day, we don't live a temporal life. We're gonna end up in one of two places. We're gonna either end up in heaven or we're gonna end up in hell. That's fact. And so the gospel. God so loved the world that He sent His only Son, that whosoever believes in Him shall not perish but have everlasting life. We're forgiven because of His sacrifice. We've been made righteous. We've been given righteousness, and now we live different lives. That's my testimony. I was in jail, spent time in jail, got arrested for drinking and driving. I was a lustful person in college. I slept around. I partied a lot, tried to fill myself with pleasure and achievement and doing things, and I still ended up empty and unfulfilled until I met Jesus. And every addiction that I had broke, every vice that I had broke, and it's the reason why I believe I'm able to live a life that's fully fulfilled, and more exciting than the one that I was living. I just beg them to just look into it and to at least give it a fair evaluation as something that is possible.
That's beautiful, brother. Yeah, it takes a weight off of you that you don't realize is there, for sure.
Yes.
And I have the pinned tweet, or it's not tweet, I guess it's on both now, Twitter or X, and then Threads for Instagram. Is that any answers you're looking for in life you can find with the Bible and God, that relationship. And I'm not saying that from being all-knowing. I'm saying it from experiencing it and feeling it, and everything he said is true. Give it a real shot, and I've seen it time and time again. I mean, it's gonna make everything in your life better, and those around you. Going to make you a better person in many ways, and it's going to influence those around you. You're just like the 5 closest friends you have, that whole thing. Like, it's the same way with living a godly life. So I enjoyed this, always do, but I have both times, and I'm sure I'll have you on again, man. I'd love to make it a recurring thing. I think it gives the viewer a chance to see us grow and kind of us move on in life in different ways too. So I'm down if you're down.
I would love to, man. Be my honor.
All right, bro. That's awesome. Well, thank you all for watching. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe or give it a like if you enjoyed it. If you didn't, tell me why you didn't enjoy it. I'm open to criticism, whatever it may be, but thank you all for being here in general. All right, we're out.